My sister framed me for ruining her relationship. When I tried to defend myself, she told everyone I was just jealous of her. But then I discovered the secret she was desperate to hide. Hello, Reddit. I never thought I'd be sharing something like this, but after everything I've been through, I need to get it off my chest. My sister, Olivia, and I had a decent relationship. Nothing special, but we coexisted peacefully. That all changed the day she started accusing me of trying to ruin her relationship with her boyfriend, Daniel. It was subtle at first, whispers behind my back, people giving me strange looks, and Olivia making sly remarks about me when Daniel wasn't around. I didn't think much of it at first, but things quickly escalated. Olivia began telling everyone I was trying to steal Daniel from her. She even went as far as saying I'd been flirting with him. It wasn't true. I had never been interested in Daniel, but Olivia made sure to paint me as a jealous villain. At first, I tried to brush it off. I thought maybe there was some misunderstanding. But the rumors spread like wildfire. Even family members started questioning me. My own parents, who had always been supportive, began to ask me if I was crossing any boundaries. They didn't even ask Olivia the same questions. Olivia's accusations grew bolder. She'd tell her friends, "It's so awkward when my sister's around Daniel. She's always hanging around us when we're trying to have alone time." Or, I caught her staring at him in a way that made me uncomfortable. It was a complete fabrication, but no one believed me. The worst part was when Olivia started isolating me. If I was anywhere near Daniel, she'd make sure to call attention to it. If I spoke to him for even a second, she'd claim I was hitting on him, or trying to break them up. The more I tried to deny it, the worse it got. One night, I had enough. I couldn't stand seeing my name dragged through the mud anymore, so I decided to confront Olivia directly. Maybe if I asked her why she was doing this, she'd stop. We were in the living room, and the tension was palpable. I took a deep breath, knowing this was the only chance I'd have to get answers. "Olivia, why are you lying about me?" I asked, my voice steady but filled with frustration. She looked up from her phone, almost surprised. "What do you mean?" "I mean, why are you telling everyone that I'm trying to steal Daniel from you?" I repeated. "You know that's not true. Why are you making me out to be the bad guy?" Her face hardened. "Oh, now you want to play the victim?" she snapped. "I'm the one who's been dealing with this. You're the one making it all about you." It wasn't the response I expected. "What are you talking about? I haven't done anything wrong." And then she did something that threw me off completely. She burst into loud, dramatic tears. It wasn't just a sniffle, it was full-on sobbing. She turned away from me, the sobs growing louder. "I don't know why you're doing this to me," Olivia cried. "I thought you were my sister. I trusted you, and now you're ruining everything." Before I could even speak, our parents appeared in the doorway, rushing to comfort her. She kept crying, her voice shaking as they enveloped her in hugs. They didn't even look at me. "I don't know what's gotten into her," Olivia kept repeating through her tears. "I thought she was happy for me, but now she's trying to take everything from me." I stood there, feeling invisible, as Olivia played the victim. It didn't matter that I hadn't done anything. It didn't matter that I was standing right there, trying to explain myself. Olivia had already spun her narrative, and everyone was buying into it. I tried to say something, anything, to defend myself. "Olivia, this isn't about you and Daniel. I don't want him. This is about you lying about me to everyone." But she wasn't listening. The second I raised my voice to defend myself, she turned it into something else. "She's just jealous of me," Olivia said, looking at our parents as she wiped her tears. "I have everything she wants. She's always been jealous of my relationship with Daniel." Those words hit me like a slap in the face. I didn't even know how to respond. She was making me out to be the villain, the one who couldn't be happy for her, and I was the one left to deal with the aftermath. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. Olivia's tears had worked. My parents were on her side, comforting her, telling her everything would be okay. I stood there, speechless, while my reputation was torn apart in front of me. As the days went on, the rumors grew. Friends I'd known for years started distancing themselves. People who used to say hello now avoided eye contact. Every time I saw someone I knew, It was like they were looking at me differently, like I was the person who had done something terrible, even though I hadn't. And what hurt the most was that no matter what I said, no one believed me. Olivia's lies had spread so far that there was no going back. But this wasn't the end. As I kept trying to defend myself against the accusations, I started to notice something strange. Olivia wasn't just accusing me of something that wasn't true. There was something else going on. She was hiding something. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized she had a secret. A secret she didn't want anyone to know. After Olivia's public display of hurt, I became the center of whispers and judgment. Everyone believed her lies about me trying to steal Daniel. It was as if the entire world had turned against me. People I had known for years now looked at me as though I was some kind of villain. No matter how many times I denied the accusations, no one believed me. Olivia had spun her narrative perfectly, and I was left trying to defend myself in a situation where everyone had already made up their minds. But there was one thing I couldn't ignore. Something felt off. Why had Olivia gone to such extreme lengths to ruin my reputation? I'd never even been interested in Daniel. There had to be more to the story. So, I decided to keep my eyes and ears open. The more I paid attention to Olivia, the more I realized there were cracks in her story. Olivia would act possessive of Daniel in front of everyone, but behind closed doors, something didn't add up. She was increasingly distant with him, and I noticed the way her behavior towards him seemed to change. Small things at first, she would snap at him over trivial matters, often giving him the silent treatment. I started to see that their relationship wasn't as perfect as she made it seem. It was almost like she was trying to make everything seem normal, but there was tension between them that couldn't be ignored. It wasn't just Olivia's behavior that seemed strange. Daniel, usually quiet and easygoing, had started pulling back too. There were moments when I'd notice him looking frustrated or uninterested, especially when Olivia was around. At family gatherings, their conversations were short, awkward, and strained. Sometimes I'd catch Daniel looking at Olivia with a certain distance, as if something was bothering him, but he'd always act like everything was fine. That's when I started to wonder, what if Olivia's accusations weren't the real problem? Maybe it wasn't me she was trying to protect Daniel from. Maybe she had something to hide. So, I decided to follow her one evening. It was a chance encounter. Olivia said she was going out with Daniel, but something in her tone didn't sit right with me. I wasn't expecting much, just a small hunch that something was off. I didn't follow them far, just enough to see where they were going. Olivia and Daniel entered a coffee shop, but they weren't alone. There was a man with them, someone I didn't recognize. They sat at a corner booth, chatting and laughing. At first, I thought it was nothing, just another friend of theirs. But then I noticed how close Olivia and the man were sitting. She was leaning into him, touching his arm, and laughing in a way that seemed too intimate for just friends. As I watched from a distance, I noticed Daniel sitting across from them, his attention elsewhere. It was like he wasn't even part of the conversation. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something deeper happening here. Then it happened. As the man stood up to leave, Olivia kissed him on the lips, right in front of Daniel. I froze in place. I couldn't believe what I had just seen. Daniel was sitting there, staring blankly at his cup, acting as if he didn't notice. That was the moment everything clicked. Olivia wasn't protecting her relationship from me. She was covering up her own secret. She had been cheating on Daniel. And in a twisted attempt to keep her betrayal hidden, she had framed me as the bad guy. All those rumors about me trying to steal Daniel, they were just a smokescreen. Olivia knew that if anyone found out about her affair, it would ruin everything for her. So, she turned the attention on me, making me out to be the jealous sister who wanted to break them up. I walked home in a daze. The weight of what I had just seen was overwhelming. Olivia wasn't just lying about me. She had been lying to everyone about her entire relationship. And the worst part? I was left to deal with the consequences of her lies. I had the truth now, but the question was, what should I do with it? Would anyone believe me? Or would they just assume I was trying to cause drama, just like Olivia had accused me of? Olivia had already ruined my reputation. Exposing her affair could tear their world apart. But she had to be stopped. I wasn't sure how to approach this, but one thing was clear. I couldn't let her get away with framing me. The truth had to come out. The truth was undeniable now. Olivia had been cheating on Daniel, and she had framed me to cover it up. I couldn't let her get away with it. But exposing her affair was a risk. I wasn't sure who would believe me, or if anyone would even care. I knew Olivia was capable of manipulating everyone around her, and the last thing I wanted was to be the one seen as the troublemaker. But the weight of her lies was too much to carry alone. I decided to confront her. It had to be done. No more playing her game, letting her control the narrative. I knew she'd try to spin things her way, but I had to stand up for myself. There was no turning back. One evening, when the house was quiet and we were alone, I confronted Olivia. "I know what you've been doing," I said, my voice steady but hard. "I saw you with him. I saw you kiss him, right in front of Daniel." Her face went pale, but she quickly recovered, her usual manipulative smile returning. "You don't know what you're talking about," she sneered, but there was a tremor in her voice. "You've been making things up in your head. You're just jealous, that's all." I didn't let her deflect. "No, Olivia, I'm not jealous. I'm telling the truth. You've been lying to everyone about me, about your relationship. You used me as a scapegoat to cover up your own mess." For a moment, Olivia just stared at me, her facade cracking. "You have no idea what you're talking about," she repeated, but I could see the guilt in her eyes now. She wasn't as confident as she had been before. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. "I'm not going to keep quiet anymore. If you think I'm going to let you destroy my life and let Daniel keep living a lie, you're wrong." The silence between us stretched, thick with tension. Olivia's eyes flicked around, as if searching for an escape. But there was no easy way out this time. The truth was out, and she couldn't deny it. "Do you really think anyone will believe you?" Olivia finally asked, her voice low and cold. "They'll all think you're just trying to ruin everything. No one will listen to you." I met her gaze without flinching. "Maybe, but I don't care anymore. I'm not going to let you ruin anyone else's life just to protect your own secret." For a moment, I thought she was going to snap, but then her shoulders slumped, and the fight seemed to drain from her. "You don't understand," she said, her voice softer now, almost pleading. "It's not as simple as you think. Daniel, he's not the person you think he is. He doesn't care about me the way I need him to. He never has. I did what I had to do." I froze, processing her words. For the first time, Olivia wasn't just the villain in my story, she was showing cracks in her own mask. Her confession didn't make her any less guilty, but it did make me realize just how trapped she felt in her own lies. "But that doesn't excuse what you've done," I said, my tone hardening again. "You can't keep using people to cover up your mistakes." Olivia looked away, the tears welling up in her eyes. She didn't speak, but I could tell she was torn. Whether it was guilt, fear, or just the realization that everything she had worked to hide was falling apart, I wasn't sure. I had to make a choice. I could keep the secret, protect her, and allow the lie to continue, or I could expose everything. I knew what I had to do. The next day, I gathered all the evidence I needed, screenshots, photos, messages. I sent them to Daniel. There was no turning back now. Olivia's betrayal was out in the open, and no matter how she tried to spin it, there was no hiding the truth anymore. When Daniel confronted Olivia, the fallout was inevitable. She tried to deny everything, but it was too late. The damage was done. The relationship she had tried so hard to protect crumbled, and Daniel walked away from her. As for me, I finally found peace. The lies had been exposed, and my name had been cleared. It was painful watching Olivia face the consequences of her actions, but I knew it was the only way to move forward. No more playing her game. No more being the scapegoat. In the end, Olivia got what she deserved. Her own truth finally came out, and I was no longer the villain in her story.